building. What is it that you hope to get out of this? Listening to the wealth building masterminds.
I'll start. It's Margaret.
Hi, Margaret.
Prioritizing where I should be thinking about my next steps, whether it's reducing expenses, which I think I've pretty much pared down, and what are the next steps in determining where I want to go. So I mean, I'll say it out loud. I do have some properties that I own myself. I've managed stuff for other people. And where's the crossroads? Where's the balance for me where I want to cut that off and I'm done with it and just build the real estate career? Or do I want to march in another direction and continue, securing properties? And it's sort of finding that balance for myself. And I think that's kind of what I came on here for, to kind of figure out where is that for me.
Okay, good. Well, I hope that we're definitely going to have some tools that'll help you work through that on today's session and in the future sessions too. In the future sessions, we're going to have a lot of special guests that are going to come on and talk to us about how they've built wealth and giving tips and helping you to look at your scenario. Anybody else who wants to tell me? Anna Gibbs.
Yeah, thank you for doing this, Ro. So I've had great opportunities through Keller Williams now to create multiple streams of income from what I am compensated to do, like in my role through a salary and or a bonus, but also through profit share and other opportunities too. And so I know that you cannot build wealth when you don't have multiple streams of income. So now it's really, I think for me, that opportunity to get more strategic about it, have a plan, and broaden the possibilities of where streams of income can come from. So, and also just understanding more around the vehicle of investing. That's for me a goal that I have.
That's great. I love that. Yeah. And I will tell everybody up front that I'm not going to give you a magic potion on this series. There is no magic potion. I can tell you it's a lot of hard work. It's being two of my favorite words, which is smart and strategic. So that's just a couple of nuggets right up front. Who else? What would you like to get out of today? Nancy, you are on mute.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for doing this, Rosemary. I am so excited about this. Really is to pull the trigger and get a plan so I can start building wealth. We've been talking about it for years and we just haven't done it. So it's time. It's time.
Mm-hmm. Great. Well, hopefully we're going to give you a good start today in what we're going to be talking about. Anybody else?
Yeah, hi, Rosemary. It's Greg Molina. I just started with Keller. I joined in December. So I just wanted to get, and I'm working with Meralda, my productivity coach, and I just wanted to get a sense that I'm moving in the right direction.
Okay, good. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and we're going to start. Let's see if I can start this. Have to maneuver my screen. Give me 1 second. Okay, so today we're gonna talk about the path of money, and in order to start talking about the path of money, we first have to talk about what is wealth to you. Anybody want to share what does wealth mean to you in your life? And Eileen, I may need help with the chat or if people raise their hands because I can only see a limited number of people on my screen.
I think building wealth is freedom.
Freedom, yes, I love that.
I think it's contribution.
Contribution, tell me a little bit more about that, Margaret.
So if I have more flexible income or pathways of creating more money for myself, I can then not only share that with others, teach it to others. So no different than you're doing here. So that's one of the overreaching goals for myself, is to create a path towards helping others to achieve wealth through my knowledge. So
Yeah, I
the
love
same
that.
thing what you're doing here, same thing.
Yeah, and I think it's showing that you're taking your success and you're taking it to significance, right? Because you become significant to other people through your success, and you work through it, and that's really what creating a legacy is. One of the masterminds down the road, I'm going to have somebody come in and talk about building legacy. So I love that. I love what you just said. Who else?
Security.
Security, Michelle, yeah. Yeah, having that financial security, that also brings you a sense of freedom, right?
Mhm. Definitely.
I think it's making enough passive income to fund my perfect life.
Yes. You know, it's funny, I wrote down some notes, and you guys are saying all the things that if somebody were to ask me, this is exactly what I would say. It is, you know, having that perfect life, being free, being secure, being able to be of significance to others. I love all of that.
Leaving a legacy for my children and my grandchildren and my great grandchildren, and
There's that
building wealth in my
legacy piece
community.
again. I love that. I love that. Eileen, are there comments in the chat box?
Yes. We already got Anna said freedom, Michelle security, Robin wealth means legacy. Lori McDermott said wealth means helping me live and create my life by design. Lori Pecoraro said having the means to say yes to things I have a passion for and being able to take stress about money out of the equation.
Yeah. Yeah, because often those money worries do create a lot of stress in our lives.
And we have Christina Gibbs. She said being able to provide my daughter a great future in life, which I think for most of us, our kids are the number one most important thing.
Mhm.
And Millie said a pathway to other avenues of making money.
Okay. So now I'm going to ask you, what would wealth mean to your family and those around you? And when you think of a life with wealth, what does that look like? Anybody?
I think it means independence. When you start thinking about people out, you know, not yourself, but then you start thinking about sharing that wealth and being independent, and that offers a lot of options and choices.
Yeah, I love that, options and choices.
I think being able to help the community at large, to be able to give into those things that are dear to my heart and passionate, to be able to help someone, wealth would mean I could do that and not worry about my own security.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
I think it would mean we would have more time to spend with our family and not have to work as much as we do at this point. And, you know, we would be able to do more things for our children too, if they have immediate needs or children. I have one grandchild now and I have two more coming, and I'd like to be able to help them out too in the future. So I think wealth equals time to me. So.
Yeah. So wealth is not always about money, right? It's a lot of it's about quality of life. It is about freedom. It's about independence. And a lot of that has to do with quality, which is not always money. It's also time. So what we're going to look at today is where you are, and where you want to be. So that you can analyze, and we can go through some exercises analyzing what is your gap, right? Because in order to get to where we want to go, we need to know what we have to do to get there. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So the first place that we need to start when we look at our wealth, and the monetary terms of our wealth, is our net worth. And how many people on here know what their net worth is? So Arlene is saying yes, she does. Greg says he knows. Anybody else? Okay, Nancy, Anna. So Anna, you must have done the exercise, huh?
Yes.
Because Anna and I had this conversation a couple of weeks ago, and she did not know her net worth. And so she's already ahead of this group a little bit.
Just slightly.
Yeah, through our coaching and accountability, to be able to know her net worth. So for those of you who may not be familiar with net worth, really what that is what your assets are. Okay, money you have in the bank, equity you have in your home, less what you owe on it. And that's what net worth is. And I have included in the materials that you have this spreadsheet, which I'm going to go to here. And it's pretty easy to work with. It has just a few tabs. So here it's basically telling you on the top to go through and just put in the numbers. You know, this is a little numbers exercise. You know, your real estate, your checking account, your savings account, your retirement accounts, if you own, you know, autos, if you have cash value in a life insurance policy, those would all be your assets. And then you're going to take whatever your liabilities are, right? Whatever you owe on credit cards, mortgages, any type of student or auto loans, and you're going to subtract your liabilities from your assets, and that is going to equal your net worth. So that's the first real exercise to do here, and that's gonna tell you a lot, because you'll want to be setting some thresholds for maybe where you want to see your net worth go to. And then, you know, we can go through exercises, and we're going to look at the path of money, and talk about ways that you can increase your net worth. The other tab on the Excel sheet is going over your inflows and your outflows. And so Gary Keller makes a great quote in the one thing. He says, your net worth to the world is usually determined by what remains after your bad habits are subtracted from your good ones. So, you know, there's two ways to grow wealth when you look at this type of inflow and outflow here. And that is to either increase your cash flow in or decrease your cash going out. So when Margaret said before that she's pared down her expenses, that's always a great way to start to build your net worth, is to take those expenses down. I pushed a button and do you see a black box on my screen?
No.
Okay, good. A black box popped up on mine. So, okay, so that's net worth, and I will leave, that will be homework from this, is for you to all figure out what your net worth is. Any of you who don't know it already. So then we have, you know, when we talk about increasing net worth, we have to have an understanding of the path of money. So the path of money is what leads the money to your wealth. And money in our lives is made up of in two ways. It's either human capital, which is basically you, and the active work that you can do to create cash flow in your life. And the other one is your capital assets, which is where you have your money working for you. So if you own a house, your money is working for you because you're building equity. The longer you own the house, the more equity, hopefully, especially in a market like this, you have in it. Both of those are going to create cash flow. Then you have the choice of where you would like to spend your cash flow. And I just want to go back for a minute. When you look at the difference between human capital and capital assets, so human capital is trading time for money. Okay, capital assets is trading money for money. So you're buying something and you're able to get money out of it. Okay, human capital is trading time for money. Capital assets is trading money for money. So once you have investments and you invest, because you're investing in your career, whatever you're working at, you're investing in. If you're investing in real estate, you're investing in a capital asset. Those are going to create the cash flow. So you have a choice when you get the cash flow. You can either spend it, donate it, hold it, or invest it. Now, you can make two investment choices, okay? You can either lend or you can own. And then there are two positions. Once you do that, you can either be passive and getting money in it. So some of the passive sources of income that you can get is, of course, to put your money in a bank, right? You can put it in money markets, you can put it in CDs, you can put it in savings accounts, you can put it in equity trades, in bonds, in T-bills. You can also go into stocks, mutual funds. Somebody else is controlling it, and you are getting the cash flow out of it. Another source of passive income that we've created in Keller Williams is, of course, profit share. Okay, that is another source of income that you don't have to work, but you will see the rewards from, and you will see the income and cash flow from. Active ways to get cash flow are lending, private lending, owner financing. If you're buying real estate or selling real estate, I should say, you can also own real estate and own businesses. So a lot of times when you own businesses, that actually can also become a passive stream of equity income if you're not working directly in the business. But again, that becomes a little bit more of a risk threshold if you want to be invested in a business that you're not actively working on. And all of those, you're controlling it. You're putting in your time, you're putting in your money, and you are seeing financial returns out of it. So the typical path to wealth is to invest enough money with a high enough return on investment to fund your life through the financial returns. Profit share is a little bit of a shortcut to that, because that gives you immediate cash flow and can definitely shortcut it. So what we're going to be doing over the next few months, I should say. So we're going to do this once a month. We're gonna be talking about different ways of doing investments. I know in March we have someone coming in who is going to talk to us. He is a real estate agent. He has built a team, so he sees cash flow out of that. He has invested in market centers, so he sees cash flow out of that. He has invested in ancillary businesses for those market centers. He has seen cash flow off of that. And he's also invested in real estate. And, he makes 5 figures a month off of his real estate investments. So what Anna said earlier is so true. In order to build wealth, you really have to be doing it through multiple sources of income. Okay, because you have to balance out. You can only work so hard, right? You can only get to a certain level with what you could do. You have to be having your money working for you in passive areas, so that it can make you more money. That's the ultimate shortcut, to building wealth, is to have those multiple streams of income. So does anybody have any questions, or comments or thoughts on the path of wealth? I'm gonna stop my sharing because I need to see everybody.
It's funny because I almost kind of feel like you need to have money to make money, right? Because if you don't have that initial capital,
You do, and that's why you first have to create your net worth, okay? And then you can determine, okay, if your net worth is only here and you want it to be here, what is that gap? And then you have to look at your income and your expenses and say, how can I bridge my gap, number one, there between the inflows and the outflows? And when you do, you have to then take that cash flow and start to invest it. And you can do it in very small ways. There are so many different types of investments that you can do, in order to do it. And I will tell you though that once you start, on that path, it does multiply, right? When they say the rich get richer, there is a multiplication factor in there once you get to a certain point. So
Rosemarie, I just want to say something along those lines. I guess it was 3 years ago, at least. Matt and I got serious. We put ourselves on a personal budget, and I use a software for that through Dave Ramsey. It's called everydollar.com. And so you will put in what your income will be for that month, and then you have to allocate every dollar of it. So either you're spending it, paying a bill, or you're putting it in a savings account or investing or whatever. And so when we started doing that, I found that we had more money because I got clearer about where the money was going, and then I could make decisions. And I could see paying down debt would give us freedom to do other things, exactly what you're talking about. So I just wanted to add that, that personal budget is so important for this. That's the prep work.
yeah, if you struggle with budgets, and with being able to track your money, what Anna said, using an app like that, and certainly if you go to daveramsey.com, he has a course, Financial Peace University. We say we got certified to teach it, and we haven't done that. Anna Gibbs and Jen Mallory also, the three of us did that. We went through the whole course and we got certified to teach it. But it is a really good way to start looking at money very basically, and working through your budget if that's a challenge for you. Anybody else with thoughts? Kathy, did you have something you wanted to say?
I have something, Rosemarie. It's Nancy.
Nancy.
So when I was doing MAPS coaching, we started the P&L for the business, and that was eye-opening. So I brought that into our personal budget, the house budget, and it is incredible what you learn about where your money's going, what you spend your money on. It really, I think that's beginning, and it's just what Anna said. It's the same thing. It's just tracking what you're spending your money on. And it really gives you clarity around what you're spending, how much you're spending, where you're spending it, so that you can start making decisions.
And what program do you use for your personal one, Nancy?
I don't use a program. I just write it down.
Oh. You do it the old-fashioned
I'm
way.
old school. What can I say?
Anybody else with any thoughts they'd like to share?
I'll just add, it's Margaret. I'll add a comment. about 2 years ago, my husband and I went through the same steps of, we actually invested in hiring someone to help us through the process, because it was, between the two of us, it was probably the most painstaking process we ever had, was to dial down and figure out exactly where everything was going. It was probably the best $1,500 I ever spent in my life, on a professional to guide us through that process. And he was a real heavy hand holder and forced us to get on the treadmill and do what we had to do, dial down our expenses, pay attention to where everything was going, because neither one of us were paying attention. And when we did that, we were like, holy crow, we had no idea where our money was going. Now we know where every penny's going. And it has made a significant impact in our family life and has created so much leverage that we didn't even realize we had. So for every single person on the phone that right now that isn't doing it, do it.
And Margaret, do you have a name to share of the person who helped you?
Yeah, Mike Porro. He's in Old Tappan, New Jersey. He's an old school, old cat kind of guy. And he just literally forced us to pull out every single piece of paper that we needed to pull out, look at every checking account, bank statement, 529, you name it, all the stuff that you have in every pile that's thrown someplace. And made us go line by line, check by check, withdrawal by withdrawal, deposit by deposit, transfer by transfer, and where and why. Do you need it? Do you not need it? What's this for? And it was, believe me, it created a lot of heartburn, but it was the best thing we ever did.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, the one key is that you have to live on less than you earn, right? And I often see this with people, is that as their income level starts going up, their spending level starts going up. So at the end of the day, they never really get ahead. If you look at a lot of people, like look at Warren Buffett, he still lives in the same house in Omaha that he lived in for the last 40 years. So this guy, his wealth has increased exponentially, because, and I'm a big believer in that. Anybody who has seen me, sees I don't drive around in a $75,000 car. I drive around in my pickup truck. So, you have to keep the lifestyle down, and let your money go elsewhere. Not that you shouldn't live a good lifestyle, but you have to be able to live on less than you earn. And included in the package for today is also 3 financial habits from Gary Keller, from The One Thing, that are essential to growing your net worth. On the website, theonething.com, there's also some great resources on there for wealth building, through that's Gary Keller's site. So he's really good with this too. Any other thoughts?
Jennifer Mallory had done a series on the Profit First book.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it basically equated down to the envelope system, breaking up the bank accounts. And I had been involved with that. I did not incorporate at the time because I was dealing with some other stuff. But I thought that Profit First really fine-tuned everything. And I just want to say, everything I've been reading about investments lately, and with everything with the coronavirus, everybody says the same thing. The first step is whatever money you make, take away the money first. If you take 20% or 10% out of whatever you've made, a check, and you just put it away, it's out of sight, it's out of mind. And some of that is in Profit First. I actually had told my nephew to do that. He had a chicken coop in upstate New York when he was in high school. And he actually put away 20% of his money. And he almost made more money than me one year. I mean, he said it just keeps growing and growing. And at the time he put it into CDs and different things. And, if you don't see it, you can't spend it. If it's not there, if it's gone, you can't spend it. So that was just my 2 cents.
Yes. Profit First is another great book, which gives you a terrific strategy on really more how to run your business, and to how to bring that money into your personal life, out of your business. Something I highly recommend. Yeah, and maybe I'm going to get Jen Mallory in here to talk to us about that. She would definitely do that. Anybody else with any thoughts?
Rosemary, it's Millie.
Hi, Millie.
So I don't use any systems, but I have a husband who's like cheap. So
We won't tell him you said that, Millie.
we goof around with it, but since we've been together, and since he retired, what he does is he does an Excel spreadsheet, and we have everything on it from grocery shopping to gas, mileage. So he keeps track of everything I've spent, since Robin and I are also getting together and trying to form a partnership. So he keeps everything for me, and he actually allows me to know what I've spent, the difference between what I spent on one month to the other, what we spent in gas, what we spent in lunches and dinners, eating out versus eating at home. It's great because it has kind of helped to gauge, what we did last year to what we did this year. It helps in so many ways for me. And it's also allowed me to save some money because my goal this year was to kind of fix up the house. And so I was able to, for the first time in a long time, earn money doing real estate. And it allowed me to save money as well. And I've been able to do a couple of things around the house because of, everything that Robin and I have accomplished in listing and selling houses, but also because, my husband helps me with the system. I bring home the receipts. He does everything else. He puts it in the system. He'll ask me, is this Keller Williams? What is this for? And he keeps track of everything. Me, I'm not that good at it, but that's how we've done it.
That's great. That's great. And I'm glad to hear that you're making financial headway. So I hope everybody got out of this that really the tracking part of it makes a big difference. You have to track your money. And we're giving you a lot of ways today through the spreadsheets and the material that we gave out to start that process. So I hope that you will all start the process, come up with your net worth, come up with what you think your gap is. And on our next call, which will be the last week of February, that's what we're going to keep doing it last week of the month on a Thursday. And I'm interested if you have any specific topics you want to hear, shoot me an email or a text. And we're going to be hitting a lot of different things. And like I said, we're going to have a lot of different guests in every month. But the first thing I wanted to do this month is really to start with all of you and start your minds thinking about what the goal is, what the goal is for your net worth, what the goal is for what you want the wealth to do in your life. And then we'll talk about the different ways that you can get there. Okay, well, thanks all. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, Rose.